Welcome back to Nation of Glory. Today, we dive into one of the most powerful and emotional stories shaping the global stage. It is the story of Donald Trump, the former and once again commanding figure of American politics, preparing to address the United Nations at a time when the United States is moving further away from the traditional path of global cooperation. For decades, the UN General Assembly has been the place where American leaders, standing tall at the podium in New York, spoke about unity, alliances, shared responsibility, and a common future. But Trump's message, both in his tone and his policy, has always been different. And as he prepares once again to take that stage, the world listens with both hope and fear, curiosity and caution, wondering what role the US will play in this turbulent world. Trump's journey to this moment is not one born of political smoothness or quiet diplomacy. It is a story of fire, of bold declarations, and of relentless challenges to what the world has always taken for granted. When most leaders stood in that hall promising deeper ties, more funding, and greater collaboration, Trump's voice cut through, with a sharp edge saying America first, America strongest, America unbound. And for millions of Americans, that voice was not just politics, it was an anthem. They believed in it. They felt heard in a way they hadn't for decades. But for leaders around the world, it was a shattering of tradition, a shaking of the very foundation of global unity. Think about it, every image of the UN General Assembly is filled with flags from every corner of the earth, a visual reminder of a world tied together. But in Trump's philosophy, those ties are not chains of trust, they are burdens that weigh America down. He has long argued that the United States pays too much, gives too much, and sacrifices too much for others while its own people struggle. And so, when Trump speaks about pulling back from global cooperation, it isn't an empty phrase, it's a worldview. A belief that America's strength is diminished when it bends to the will of the many, rather than standing fiercely on its own. This moment, this address to the United Nations, becomes far more than a speech. It becomes a reflection of an entire era of American politics. Trump does not approach this stage like a diplomat. He approaches it like a fighter stepping into the ring, like a heavyweight ready to take on all comers. For his supporters, that courage is the very thing that makes him different. But for his critics, it is the very reason. They fear what his leadership could mean for the fragile threads holding the world together. As he walks toward that iconic green marble backdrop, with cameras flashing and translators ready to turn his words into dozens of languages, there is an undeniable electricity. The leaders seated before him know they are not about to hear a carefully rehearsed script that pleases everyone. They are about to hear a raw, unapologetic declaration of what Trump believes America should be. Some lean forward with anticipation. Others sit back with unease. But none can deny that Trump's presence commands attention. And isn't that the story of Trump himself? A man who has never blended quietly into the background. From the towers bearing his name to the roaring rallies across America, Trump has always demanded the spotlight, and more importantly, he has always known how to hold it. The United Nations, in this sense, is just another stage. But what he says on this stage does not just ripple across American headlines, it sends waves across every nation, every government, every community that wonders whether America will still be the partner they have known, or whether it will become a fortress standing tall but alone. For decades, presidents have promised cooperation on climate change, humanitarian aid, peacekeeping missions, and trade. But Trump's approach is built on a different kind of promise, the promise to put the needs of America first, even if that means stepping back from global commitments. His critics see abandonment. His supporters see protection. And this clash of perspectives is what makes his appearance so powerful, so divisive, and so unforgettable. There is something almost cinematic about this moment. Picture it, Trump at the podium, his voice echoing through the chamber, his words sending a shockwave through allies and rivals alike. The world's cameras zoom in, the headlines race to capture every phrase, and millions of people, whether they love him or hate him, cannot look away. This is not just politics. This is theater. This is drama. This is history unfolding in real time. And as we reflect on it, we realize that this isn't only about Trump. It's about America's place in the world. Will the United States continue to lead as the backbone of international alliances? Or will it shift into a new era where leadership means independence, strength, and sometimes even defiance? Trump embodies that question. He becomes the symbol of a nation wrestling with its identity on the global stage. For the people back home in America, Trump's distance from global cooperation feels like a promise to protect jobs, to rebuild industries, to keep soldiers out of endless wars, to keep resources from flowing to causes they do not understand. For them, this speech at the UN is not about what France thinks, or what Germany hopes, or what the Secretary General pleads for. It is about hearing their leader declare that their struggles matter more than global applause. And that emotional connection, that bond between leader and people, is what fuels Trump's every word. But for leaders sitting in that chamber from Africa, Asia, Europe, and South America, the message is something else entirely. They wonder, can we rely on America? Can we trust this partnership? Or must we prepare for a future where America walks alone, and the rest of the world must adapt without it? The emotional weight here is not just American pride, it is global uncertainty. And that is why this story grips us. Because it isn't a story with a clear ending. It is unfolding before our eyes. It is a drama where every speech, every gesture, every decision could tilt the balance of alliances, economies, and futures. Trump addressing the UN is not simply one leader giving a speech. It is the embodiment of a larger question: what does it mean to be united in a world that feels increasingly divided? Nation of Glory has always told stories about legends, about wrestlers, actors, politicians, figures who shape not just headlines but emotions, who turn simple moments into unforgettable legacies. And in this story, Trump becomes exactly that kind of figure. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you cheer for him or criticize him, you cannot deny the impact. His words echo beyond the walls of the UN. They echo into living rooms, into debates, into history books yet to be written. And as this chapter continues to unfold, we remain captivated. Because the truth is, the world has always looked to America for leadership. And now, with Trump back on that stage, the world must ask, what kind of leadership will it be? Cooperation or confrontation? Unity or independence? The answer, for now, lies in the story being told today. Thank you for joining us on this journey here at Nation of Glory. If you felt the power of this story, if you believe in diving deep into the moments that shape our world, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share it with those who want to understand history not just as words, but as emotion. Until next time, this is Nation of Glory, bringing you stories that matter, stories that move you, and stories you will never forget.